Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be doing a little Bible study with you on the word trust. Now trust is a huge topic because many of us struggle with trust issues. So we're going to go into the word of God and see what we can learn today. I did this Bible study with a method called the 5 W's and the H, which means who, what, when, where, why, and how. Now we're going to start out with who. The question is, who should we trust? Proverbs 3 verse 5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding." Let's go back to that first part. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Our question has just been answered. We should trust in God. Psalm 118 verse 8 says, "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." We can't always depend on persons because sometimes they will let us down. And we just have to remember that no human is perfect. As for God, His way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in Him. And that comes from Psalm 18 verse 30. We also have to choose to trust in God rather than the things of this world. Proverbs 11 verse 28 says, "He that trusteth in his riches shall fall." David said in Psalm 20 verse 7, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God." Chariots and horses in those times were used as some form of defense when it was wartime, and it would bring some amount of fear upon their enemies. So they would trust in the chariots and the horses to bring them protection. David, on the other hand, recognized that God is all-powerful and there's nothing that God can't do. And so he decided to put all of his trust in Him. And who better to put our trust in than God? Alright, so the next W is what? And the question is, what can we trust God for? We can trust God for blessings, help and protection, mercy, loving kindness, peace, strength, companionship, and happiness. For when and where, I use them together because they're basically saying the same thing. So I'm going to start out with when. When should we trust God? Psalm 62 verse 8 says, "Trust in Him at all times. Ye people, pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us." It might seem easy to trust God when times are going great, but what about those times that are so worrisome, the times when you're just so afraid and you don't know what to do? David said in Psalm 56 verse 3, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in Thee." Where? Where should we trust God? It doesn't matter where you are, whether on the mountaintop or in the valley, still put your faith in God. The story of Daniel tells us that he still trusted God while he was in the lion's den. We can see this in Daniel 6 verse 23, which says, "So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God." Joseph was sold by his brothers and enslaved in Egypt, but he still trusted and stayed faithful to God. The 3 Hebrew boys were thrown into the fiery furnace because they refused to bow down to a false god, yet through it all, they trusted in God. Paul and Silas were in prison, but still trusted and sang praises to God. And there are so many more persons in the Bible that trusted in God, and God was there with them. Why? Why should we trust in God? Because His words never fail and His promises are sure. God is able to do just what He said He would do. There is nothing too hard for Him. God never lies. God is with you wherever you go. God doesn't want you to bear the burden alone because He cares. He will not give you more than you can bear. God will give strength in your weakness. God has a promise for the future of His people. How? How should we trust God? Proverbs 3 verse 5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." So we have a condition there. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. We are encouraged to trust God completely, without a doubt and unwavering trust. We can't put half trust in God and then half trust in ourselves or something else. James 1 verse 6 to 8 says, "But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." We can't expect to receive from God when we can't trust Him completely. To avoid being a double-minded person, we have to fully surrender our trust to God, deny our will, and as Proverbs 3 verse 6 says, "In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths." Also, Hebrews 11 verse 6 says, "But without faith it is impossible to please Him. For he that cometh to God must believe that He is, and He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him." So I hope that you enjoyed this Bible study. I hope you learned a lot, because I learned a lot. And I hope that you like this video, you comment, you share, and you subscribe. And I'll see you again in another video.